Well, I've completed this side and I think it's looking really quite good. I really do love the design on the plates that I used, a couple of different designs there. I noticed with one of the plates that it had some crazing on it and it wasn't as good quality as the other. So therefore, when I was using my pen marker, once that marker got into the crazing, it was just too difficult to get out. And so I had to be mindful of that when I was marking. So I ended up and used actually a pencil to mark on top, so as it didn't interfere with the crazing. So this is the design that I'm going with for the background. And all this is strips of the iridized glass. And I've also got a few of these, or some of these square glass tiles and these rounds. And I really do love using these. And of course they come in different colors. I just chose those colors because I thought it suited this piece. And these are also iridized as well, so it should go well with this blue background. And all I'm doing is I'm cutting the actual, or scoring and breaking the strips, the glass into strips, as you can see up on screen now. I'm using the Glass Star strip scorer, and then I'm breaking them with my running pliers in between each score, and it's doing a really good job. Very simple to use, and it's not very expensive. Now, at the time of this filming, Glass Star wasn't around in business that I was aware of. I think they went a year or two ago, but certainly you can buy a generic brand of this Glass Star strip scorer, and I'll put the links down in my description box of this video. So check that out. For adhering the strips down, I'm going to be using MAC glue, but of course this is at the timing of this video, filming of this video, MAC glue was no longer being made either, but they are working on a new formula, so hopefully that will be released soon. But you could use Prep multi-use adhesive or some other clear adhesive that's going to be suitable for your project. Now I'm just using the strips of glass, and I'm really just, once I've done the strips, I'm really just kind of like scoring a straight score across and a gap, and then putting in a circle or a square. There's no rhyme or reason to this. I'm really not looking at this to be an organized background. I really want it to be really sort of free-flowing. On the outside, I'm not going to actually put a round or a square in that, because it is going to be open here, and this is going to be filled up with grout. So I really am looking for a nice edge. Now the only grinding I'm doing is actually on the edge there, just a light grind, and you could use, if you haven't got a grinder, you could use a diamond hand pad with some water and just a very light wipe over the edge there with your diamond pad, and that will also do the same thing. Now this glass is pretty well opaque, so I don't have to worry about making sure that the back of the glass or the surface area here is completely covered in adhesive, because you're not going to see any glue marks. If it is going to be a semi-transparent glass, then you'll want to make sure that you use a white adhesive and cover the whole complete back so you don't see any glue marks. But this is how I'm doing it. Like I always say, there's more than one way to do a project, but this is just my way of doing it. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. Like I said, it's just the way I'm doing it. So I'm going to get a few things together, and then we'll come back and start adhering this down. Put that in there. Glue the next piece down. I really don't want to fill up the grout lines with adhesive. Going to roughly put that in there where I think it needs to come out. hopefully my eyes will be reasonably accurate. I could use a template and just lay over that like a piece of plastic or something and transfer that, and then texture it and then transfer that to the glass. But generally I find this works really quite well. I'm just going to get my grazing pliers. Well, I just changed things around. I took all this out here, and I must say I had difficulty getting that to lift off because the MAC glue sets up quite quickly. So I'm still going to continue on with the present course I'm in, but I'm going to just maybe have one dot here and one dot down here in each row. I didn't want to put too many dots, and then that will transfer over to this side as well with less dots. So we'll see how we go on that. I may change it again, but I doubt it because it's going to be too difficult to get that MAC glue back up from the actual photo frame. If you're not happy with an area, you're better off ripping it up. Now, something before I continue on, I just thought I'd like to mention is that when you're doing a project like this, it's very easy not to have them line up if you want to have the top part or the bottom part lining up with the top part. So before I get too far ahead, I need to make sure that these are all going to line up with the bottom. So what I've done is I've measured across the top here, and it's 100 millimeters exactly from this edge here to this edge here. And I've measured down here, and then I've put a mark here, and I'm slightly out, so I need to just readjust that. So there's 100 millimeters there. And I'm going to get my little straight edge here, and I'm going to line that up with that edge there and across that bottom there and put a line there. So this is now going to be my new straight edge here, and then I'll work across and everything will line up beautifully. Whereas if I don't do this, it's going to, it could mismatch by the time it gets across here. I hope that makes sense. Well, I'm up to the grouting stage. I have added a piece of wire, another piece of wire there, aluminium, and another piece there, because the crockery was up a little bit high. Not that it really mattered, but I just wanted a bit of a smoother edge, and I think that finishes it off a lot better because the aluminium actually just stands up quite proud of the crockery. So I think it's looking really quite good. Now I'm going to be grouting the background in Litokol Translucent Grout, and I'm looking at grouting the crockery on both sides here with a sanded almond grout. I'm also contemplating this heart, adding the heart into it, which I was looking at originally, whether I add it there or I add it there or I just don't have it at all. I'm really not quite sure. I quite like it with the heart, and I quite like how the heart is slightly higher than the photo frame if I lift the heart up, which I quite like that as well. So that's what I'm looking at. Whether I add that in at a later date, I'm really not quite sure. I could have added it in actually before I finish the background, but I thought it would look good protruding above the background like I've done here with the wire and the crockery. Well, I'm good to go. I've got everything masked. I'm not worried about the actual centerpiece here because it actually has it's acrylic and it actually has a paper coating on it. And if I get epoxy grout onto that, it doesn't really matter. Well, I've got my Litokol Translucent Grout here, so I'm just going to now apply that. Of course, I never know whether I've mixed up enough or I've mixed up too much, but generally I'm pretty good with getting an idea of it, how much to mix. And I would say I've mixed up a pretty good amount. This is where I like to use my hands to massage it in to the grout lines and get out all those bubbles, and just really take my time working it into those grout lines. This is a great tool. It's just brilliant because there's very little flex in it. It's quite wide, it's got a flat end here, and it's great for digging things out or cleaning out areas like this. It's really a great little tool. It's very strong. This is a smaller version of this, except this has a little bit of a round end, and I find this is really a good tool to use as well. I'll let that sit for a while and then come back and do the grouting with the sanded grout in the crockery in almond. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes, but I really want to get the water off before it really dries, so I'm just going to go in and give it a buff. I want to remove that just in case there's any epoxy grout, which there is, just that went underneath, and I can just give that a nice wipe over. There you go. Same on this side. Well, I've got my sanded grout here, and just giving it a mix after it's been slaking, and I'm just going to apply that in the area where there's crockery, and hopefully I won't get any in the area that I have just used the Litokol Translucent Epoxy Grout in, but I think it should be fine. We'll see how I go. Just being very gentle. Just make sure as before you push it into all those grout lines, squeezing out any air that's in them, and or any air bubbles in them, and just take your time. Well, I'm going to let that now just haze over that grout, and then I'm going to go in and start cleaning it off, and hopefully this is going to come out really quite good. So far I haven't seen any issues with the grout being where it shouldn't be, except a few little splashes here, but I can fix that. So fingers crossed. All right, well, it's hazed over a bit, and I've got a very wrung out damp sponge, and I'm just going in now, just lightly going over the grout. Hardly using any water. It's just a clean. There you go. Now going with this and just wipe it over again, because I really don't want to push the grout out of the grout lines. And my grout lines are very close together. They always are. So just go over that, get rid of that. I'll let that set up, and then I'll come in with I'll do this side, and I'll do that off camera because you've already seen how I'm going to do it. And then I'll come in with a nice dry rag and just buff that up, because it's actually removed a lot of the grout in the first go without removing it out the grout line. So I'm really happy about that. Well, the Mosaic photo frame is all finished, and I think it looks really quite beautiful. Now, the camera is not going to do this piece justice because it's really not going to show how beautiful that iridized stained glass and iridized glass gems really are. Now, I've also finished the back. I have added a hanger and painted it in a satin black, including the sides. And now what I'm looking at doing is adding this ceramic heart to the top there in the center, or maybe even above it, the frame itself. I'm not really quite sure, but I'd be interested in hearing your thoughts on that. So if you'd like, please put a comment in the comment section of the YouTube channel and let me know whether I should add the heart or whether I should leave it out, and where I should put the heart. Now, if you're interested in any of the products I've used for this frame, then please check out the description box of this video, because I'll have links in there as well. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video. I hope you've taken something away from it. If you did like it, please think about giving it a like. If you haven't subscribed, think about subscribing. And if you saw value in the video, please share it far and wide. And I'll see you in the next one. Keep creating and enjoy.